Are you wanting to make more money in your home service business? Did you know there's one metric that's quietly costing you thousands in revenue and most don't even know how to calculate it? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what booking rate is, why it matters so much, and how to calculate and improve it. I'll break down the booking rate formula, common mistakes businesses make, and by the end, you'll walk away with actionable steps so you can stop losing money and start booking more jobs. Let's get into it. How to calculate your booking rate and why it's costing you a lot of money every single year. First, we got to talk about what it is, though. It is appointments booked divided by qualified leads. It's the percentage of revenue generated leads that turn into a booked appointment. So this metric shows you how many calls and form fills and everything is actually turning into appointments. The higher the percentage, the higher the number, the better. More appointments obviously means more jobs. So if 70 potential customers call in and your team books an appointment with 55 of them, your booking rate is 78.5%. So it's 55 appointments divided by how many qualified leads came in. Important though, not every single call is a real lead. We'll talk about that soon. But first, we kind of need to talk about why this matters in the first place. Why does booking rate matter? And before I can even touch on this topic, there's a lot of you out there that are not tracking your calls. You don't know how many calls you get in a month. You don't know where the calls are coming from. That's a huge problem. After you finish watching this video, go sign up for CallRail or use Service Titan or something. Find something and start tracking your calls. You've got to do it. You're making a big mistake and flying totally blind if you're not tracking your calls and you don't know where they're coming from. Why does this matter? Why does booking rate matter? If your phones are ringing but you're only turning half of those into appointments, then you're throwing away marketing dollars. More appointments is more jobs. When you're tracking the calls and looking at this stuff, you can give immediate training and coaching to your CSRs. You can listen to the call recordings, coach your CSRs, improve ROI really fast. And you're going to align with your marketing spend. So if marketing is getting the phone to ring and your CSRs don't book the call, you're burning cash. They might not be booking the call for various reasons. You might not even know it, but they might be telling people, oh, we can't do that. They might be turning business away. And that is why it is absolutely essential that you track calls and you figure out what your booking rate is, because if leads are coming in, how many of those are actually turning into appointments? Let me put this into perspective. Imagine you spend $10,000 a month on marketing. Your phone rings 200 times, but your team is only booking 100 appointments. So potentially there's 100 jobs that are slipping through, and that would be half. So you're losing $5,000 a month, which would be $60,000 a year. And that's just because the team isn't converting leads effectively. And that would be drastic, right? But that's money that you could be paying for new tools, hiring more technicians, going straight to your bottom line. And I can hear some of you saying, oh, we book 100% of the calls we get. There's no way we're missing 100 leads. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. I promise you, unless you're tracking your booking rate and you're listening to the recordings on your call, you are not booking 100% of the qualified leads that come in. You would be surprised if you've never listened to recordings of your CSRs on phones, how many missed opportunities are coming up on a monthly basis and a weekly basis. So what counts as a lead? Phone calls from potential customers, website form fills, social media DMs, chats if you're following up on them. What don't count? Spam calls, job applications or employment inquiries, vendor calls or billing questions, or maybe a repeat caller customer from the same appointment. Don't count those, because those aren't revenue opportunities. Let's get into a practical example. Let's say your CSR team got 100 calls in a day. 70 were real leads from potentially new customers. 10 were people asking about jobs. 10 was spam or wrong number. 5 were, vendors, people trying to pick up trash or whatever it is. 5 billing or post-job follow-ups from customers already. And your team booked 55 of the 70 real leads, your booking rate is 78.5%. you wouldn't take the 100, you wouldn't divide it by the 100 because 30 of those calls were not real leads. And you must label all your calls clearly within ServiceTitan and CallRail, whatever you're using. They need to be clearly labeled in terms of it's a missed opportunity, it's a lead, it's a real estate agent, whatever the case may be. You need to label them clearly. Now, there's 3 levels of booking rate tracking. You can get really detailed, and I'm just going to go through what it is, but I just advise anybody who hasn't done this or hasn't set this up that they just start at the basic level and start tracking the first thing. So level 1 is going to be calls only. Start here. If you're not doing this, start here. So you're just tracking the calls that come in. It's simple. It ties directly to your CSR performance. You take the amount of calls that you got, you filter out any of the spam or the employment opportunities or whatever, and look at the leads, real leads. You have to listen to all the calls. You got to tag them all. You got to figure out what happened. And you're going to take that number of appointments that turned into appointments and divide that by how many inbound leads you got. If you're a business that primarily gets a lot of calls, start tracking this. There's some markets and there's some industries where people just prefer to call, and so if you're phone heavy, just start here. If you've not been tracking anything, start here. Level 2 would be taking your calls and your form fills. Now this adds another layer, right? It's getting a little bit more advanced. But not all your customers are calling in. Some are filling out forms. And so you do the same exact thing, except you take the calls and now you're adding in form fills to actual appointments. Now form fills, the secret to that is speed to lead. If they fill out a form and you call them back the next day, that potentially has already talked to other people and it might be too late. The ultimate goal with form fills is you want to get down to a response in some way within 60 seconds. If you have a decent website and a pretty good follow-up process and people in your office that are doing stuff and you can set this system up, this would be a good option. Level 3, all lead sources, doesn't matter where they're coming from. It could be calls, social media DMs, chats, emails, Yelp, any place someone can inquire about your service. This is going to give you full funnel visibility, and you'll see where the cracks are coming in. So you're going to take the booked appointments and go through all the leads from any channel. That will be your booking rate. This is going to be for mature teams. You're using a CRM to its fullest capability. You have leads coming in from many, many sources, and you want to figure out what's actually going on and how many appointments you're booking and where you can improve. Pro tip, track each source separately first, calls, forms, DMs, then combine for a holistic view. Let me just go through an example. So let's just say your booking rate for calls is 82%. Your booking rate for forms is 65%. And your DMs on Facebook are 22%. So you could see where you need to make an improvement. So you know exactly where to improve, right? You got to improve the DMs if you want to increase that. Form fills, DMs, those are going to all be about speed to lead. You try to get responses and callbacks down to under a minute as the ultimate goal. And only get more advanced if you actually track your leads reliably by source. Your team is expected to respond and book them like a call, no matter where they're coming from. You're consistent in how you categorize them. That is the only times that you should get that advanced. What not to do, don't lump everything in randomly. If you get DMs but you don't respond to those for days, but your calls get answered in 15 seconds, measuring them the same will kind of skew the data. First off, just start with the calls. Start tracking your booking rate with the calls. See what improvement can be there. Then add the form fills. Then add the rest of the channels once you start feeling comfortable. Don't count form fills if you're not actually calling or booking them, or you don't actually have a system or a team in place that follows up every time with the form fill. All right. How do we actually improve the booking rate so you can make more money? Let's talk about it. One, you got to be using a call tracking tool. CallRail's a big one. If you're using ServiceTitan, you can already use that. If you're using Jobber or House Call Pro or some other CRM, use CallRail or something like it. Get it going. Tag every call as a lead or spam or missed opportunity or repeat customer or job seeker, whatever it is. Go through and actually really build that out in detail so you can start to see like how many calls you're getting and where they're coming from. So you can start to like filter out the noise. You're going to want to audit your calls weekly and actually coach your CSRs. A lot of owners that I talk to, they have no idea how their CSRs are actually answering the phone. They don't know that they're being rude. They don't know that they're not asking questions. They don't know that they're not showing empathy and actually caring about the customer. They're just intaking. What's your name? What's your phone number? That is not how you win a customer, a repeat customer, and make them a fan of your business. You've got to improve this. Build fast response systems for forms and DMs. Figure it out. Come up with a system. When your form comes in, what happens? Who gets notified? Who's responsible for making that call? When you get a DM, who's monitoring that? If you have many areas, there's tools where it will pull it in all into one inbox. Got to start figuring these systems out and how to actually chip away and improve and treat every lead like it's gold. Then you're going to track your booking rate by rep and by lead source. Now you're getting into real details and you can start to see what needs to be improved, who needs to improve, where are we getting really, really good leads from, where are we getting really bad leads from, where are we getting like leads where they're just wanting to know the price. You've got to start tracking where the calls are coming from and recording them. You've got to start labeling them. You've got to listen to the calls. This is going to take work. Then you've got to develop a system for the forms and the DMs and all the channels where you're getting leads, have a robust system that has accountability on it. And then you're going to be able to track your booking rate by rep, start getting really detailed. Then you start to see who's missing opportunities. What are they saying? What are they doing wrong? Now, these are common booking rate mistakes that a lot of companies make. They're not listening to the call recordings and they're missing coaching moments. They're not tracking by rep or by channel. They're not responding to form fills or DMs fast enough. These are the things. There's got to be accountability here and some rigor in your systems if you really want to continue to improve it. Now, how do the best do it? The top performing home service companies treat booking rate like a core KPI. They are reviewing this daily, weekly, monthly. They are looking at this. They want to see if for some reason that is dropping. If that's dropping, they're getting less appointments. If it's increasing, they're getting more appointments. They're getting more revenue. They track booking rate by rep. They tag every lead appropriately. It's booked. It's spam. It's not interested. It's whatever it is. Get detailed about it. They're segmenting it by source. It's a call from GMB. It's a form fill from Facebook. It's DM message from Yelp, whatever the case may be, but having those detailed in your CRM attached to everything so you can actually see and segment where the sources are coming from. Now, here's a big goal. Aim for 85 to 90% booking rate. You can obviously improve it from there and go even higher, but start and shoot here. When the booking rate drops, they listen to the calls, they train their CSRs, and they fix the issues fast because they're tracking this all the time and they care about it. They know how valuable it is. Let's give a real world example. Let's say you have 200 leads and your booking rate is 50%. You book 100 leads. If your average ticket is 1,000, you make 100K. What if you improved it to 80% booking rate? Now you book 160 jobs. Now you got 160K in revenue. That's an extra 60K just by fixing your booking rate some. And these are the levers that companies pull to significantly grow. Just a few percentage points can make a huge difference, negatively and positively. If you increase your booking rate and your close rate at the same time, your revenue is going to explode. Recommendation for most home service businesses: use 2 booking rate metrics. Call booking rate for CSR performance, total booking rate by channel, just for marketing operations and marketing spend visibility, so you know what's actually happening there. This lets you train your CSRs very effectively, see where leads are falling through the cracks. Example, nobody following up on social media DMs. And you can attribute book jobs to marketing channels more cleanly. Layer in other variants for additional insights, such as booking rate by channel, booking rate for qualified versus all leads, booking rate by CSR, day of week, campaign. You can get very, very, very detailed with this. Now, let's take all that and summarize it. Booking rate is so overlooked, and it's one of the most critical metrics to grow your home service business profitably. When you measure it correctly and coach your team to improve, you start losing money and you start maximizing the value of every single lead. Now, in this video, it's hard to comprehend, so I do have a free guide and a free calculator. I put together a resource which is going to be walking you through this case by case, step by step, point by point, so you can actually start to implement it in your business. But I also put together a tool that is going to show you what the scenarios are if you increase your booking rate and increase your close rate. Now, let me show you kind of what that looks like. So here's the calculator. You're going to put in your inbound leads, how many appointments you had that month. Let's just say your average ticket is 15,000. Let's say you're in roofing or something like that. So you've got your total revenue is going to be calculated here. This is to give you an idea of the scenarios and how improvements in your booking and close rate will actually affect your revenue. It is significant, and you can see down here what your current revenue will be if you increase it by 10%, if you increase your close rate, if you increase both of them, how much more money would you have? Every little increase in booking rate means more appointments, which means more jobs without spending more on the leads. And every increase in close rate is higher revenue without running more calls. This is what you focus on for maximum impact. These are really important metrics that you need to be tracking. You need to know your booking rate. You need to know your close rate. You obviously need to know your average ticket so you can calculate this stuff. If you want this free tool and the document, I'm going to include a link into it and so you can download it, which will give you a breakdown of everything I've talked about and help you implement this in your business. If you found value from this today, subscribe to the channel. Thanks.